Hi there, my name is Eliana Martinez and I am a Cuban American. My grandparents came to the United States when they were about in their late teens, early 20s, due to a political asylum. They were well off in their lives over in Cuba and unfortunately had to come to the United States. And here I am, second generation, living in Miami, Florida. Despite the fact that I am Cuban American second generation, I was raised in a household where we still practice our cultural Cuban beliefs. Every Christmas we do a roasting of a pig and we still play dominoes in our backyard just as my grandparents did as they lived in Cuba. Some things just really don't change even though you live in America. Living in Miami, Florida, most people know that Cubans are very expressive and talkative and don't have any, as we call, pena or feel bad about any expressions or feelings that they would like to share. They say it wherever, whether playing dominoes, getting together to celebrate, have a few drinks. They will talk about anything and everything that's on their mind for a really long time. I must say, Cubans are very open and welcoming to everybody. But if you ever said that you wanted to go visit Cuba in our household, my grandparents would not be very happy with you. Fidel Castro took everything from them when they were so well off and had their own company and prospering and succeeding over there. This is something that it is very forbidden and must not ever be spoken about. Cubans are very touchy, what we call cariñoso. They hug, kiss, mid conversation, meeting, or saying goodbye, whatever the case may be. But if you are of interest trying to date a family member, they can get very protective, so you have to be careful the way that you touch the other of the opposite sex. On the other hand, when it comes to healthcare providers, most of the time we pick one that is conocido, also known as well known. In that case, we kiss them hello, meet them, greet them. However, if not in a professional setting, we will shake their hand. My pediatrician, as I'm a 20-year-old, is still the same one. She is so nice, and we really do love her. Spacing strategies for Cubans between Cubans doesn't really exist. They'll hold each other's hand, touch each other, put their hand on their knee, just be very involved in the conversation. However, if someone of a different culture, or not as close, they might be a little bit more distant and not as touchy during their conversations. When I think of distancing for Cubans, I think it doesn't exist. My mom used to tell me that at least two generations lived in the same household when she was little, that her parents had just come to America from Cuba. Even today, when we travel in the car, we all stuff in one car because we want to all be together. It's all about the togetherness, really, among our same culture with the same values. Eye contact is really important. It is a matter of respect. You must acknowledge that you know that they are speaking and that you are paying attention. If you look the other way, they might feel a little bit weird and as if you don't really care or care to really pay attention. So it is important that you make the eye contact throughout the conversation always, especially for the elderly. Facial expressions and hand gestures just tell it all for Cubans. Without them, they wouldn't have the same meaning when they speak. It's really impressive to see. Sometimes they even use their whole entire body to tell a story, whether it's telling directions or whatever the case may be. They will use their arms, hands, body language just to explain to you what they're trying to say. Cubans are very, very expressive in their emotions. You know exactly what they're thinking, exactly how they're feeling, if they're happy, sad, excited, surprised, or really upset. Someone that's of a different culture might misinterpret this or take things the wrong way because they don't really understand the Cuban culture and how their expressive of emotions are to be taken. The number one rule in greeting a Cuban is to stand up. That is really important. It is the number one respectful thing to do. Females kiss on the cheek, female and male kiss on the cheek. Males either give a hug, mainly, or a handshake. For some of the other culture, they might be a little hesitant and just handshake, depending on their ways. The temporal relation of Cubans is living in the present. In the present, to be the best that they could be and do what they can to succeed. Many of the past generations will reference their time in Cuba and the difficulty it was to come here and say, look how far we have come and what we have done for you. Make the best of it. It's kind of funny. They live in the present, want the best, but when it comes to being sick, they all love to play the doctor role and say, está bien, it's all good, you'll be okay, just take a little bit of this or that, and it'll blow over. But sometimes that could be misunderstood, and the sickness can turn out really bad. True story. My brother, as a 15-year-old, had a lump on the side of his face, and other family would say, "Ah, no, it's gonna be okay, no worries, it'll go down." And it wasn't until one of his teachers made him go get checked out, and it turns out he was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma, a Cuban American. Thankfully today, him, as long as with my two Cuban grandparents, all suffered and survived cancer. Now their view on the healthcare and taking their sickness seriously is really important to them as the generations will change. A culturally significant ethical dilemma among the Cubans is putting sperm in a fertile bank. This is really not that right because as a Cuban, mainly whom are Catholics, this is ethically incorrect. My brother was given this option because of the side effects of his treatment, and he chose not to do, being a Cuban Catholic American.